other breaking news, co-main event.
Yeah.
I mean,
surgery. This dude has surgery, weeks before the fight, and thinks, I'm just going to roll in there and fight Chimaev. Like, come on, Paulo Costa. What were you doing, dude? You knew if they heard about this stuff that something was going to go south.
Hold on. I'm just going to bring up his record because Paulo Costa, I think I'm typing it incorrectly. If you go to his topology, it shows not only the fights that he had, but fights that fell through, right? Hold on. And there's a lot of them. He's out of his mind. I'm a fan of Costa. I love what he brings to the table. I was excited for the fight with Chimaev. You know, they've been going back and forth, sending each other fucking DMs and stuff like that. And Khamza was in the DMs of his wife. But look at all these cancelled bouts. Ikram, Khamza, Rockhold, Jared Cannonier, Robert Whittaker. Do you know what I mean? There's more down there. He's a bit of a madman, isn't he?
Yeah. He's been difficult to say the least lately. You know, and before, remember, even when he did fight Vettori, he showed up and was like making his own weight class. Decided it was a 205 fight and not a 185 fight. And then he shows up and fights his ass off, and it's like, why can't you just do that without being so difficult? And if it's a money thing, then, man, you just sit out and you play hardball. You can't keep signing on the dotted line and trying to show up to these big co-main events, because the UFC must have known, though. I'm sure they had either Usman, somebody was available and starting to train for something, knowing that this potentially could be in the books, because I think they're worried about him no matter what.
Well, as soon as I saw that he'd had surgery, and it was 3 weeks ago, so that's 4 weeks or 5 weeks before the fight, I'm like, he can't fight like that, because, all right, let's just assume that the surgery, you know, the stitches all heal up just in time.
Yeah.
You can't train for a fight when you've just had surgery. You can't lift weights. You can't block head kicks. You can't sprawl. You can't wrestle.
Right on the elbow. It was like right on the
every time you move your arm, it's putting it under tension and all the rest of it. I mean, it's a shame that he got a staph infection, you know, so he had to have that taken care of, because that can be very, very nasty. It can be life-threatening as well. But, Costa out, Kamaru, Usman, goddamn in. Thoughts on that?
Too. And I like this, because I know he was debating on going up a weight class and things weren't working out. And I think he was getting ready to gear up for a fight potentially at 170 still. But, you know, now there's a shift in the division. There's a new champion. I've heard rumors he's been wanting to fight Khamza. So now this just opens up a lot of opportunities for him. If he beats Khamza, he puts himself right into another title shot at a different weight class.
Dana was speaking to Kevin Aioli from Yahoo Sports, and Kevin did a piece on it. He said Dana confirmed whoever wins this fight is the next man to challenge Sean Strickland. We'll get to that in a minute. But Kamaru Usman, for him, he beat Strickland back in 2017. Granted, he's improved a lot. That was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I was champion of the fucking world. I'm a retired bum these days. A lot has changed, and Strickland has improved. But for Usman, he's got to be looking at this. I'm sure they cut him a nice, big, fat, healthy check.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a big, big fight. Who knows? Maybe they offered him pay-per-view points. I don't know. We're just kicking the ball around. But then the fact that he might be able to fight Strickland if he wins, when he's already beaten him, losing twice in a row to Leon Edwards, being the former welterweight king, defending the belt 5 times, being pound for pound number one, then losing twice. This sport moves on so quickly, and people are quick to forget. So for Usman, this is the perfect opportunity to reinvent himself at 185, go out there, then fight Sean Strickland, in his mind, beat him, and become a 2-weight division champion.
Yeah, it's a fresh start, man. And we know how that is. It can be mind numbing, right? You're in the gym. It's the same thing all the time. You're the champion. It's even worse for a guy like him who's been so dominant for so long. And then you're on this streak. And like you said, it's like, oh, you know, forget about this guy. Now he gets to come back against the boogeyman, somebody that everybody's supposedly scared to fight. If he can go out there and win that, I mean, shit, talk about revamping your career and getting a fire lit under your ass again to go out there and get a new belt. And then obviously I'd imagine if he wins, beats Khamza, if he goes and God forbid he beats Strickland, there can't be much more left for Kamaru. I would think that would be near the end, right? Maybe defend it once, or maybe just leave and let his buddy Izzy come back and try to fight for it again at some point. Because I know they're buddies. I'm sure they don't want to fight each other.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, because that is the one. Because listen, I think everybody likes Kamaru Usman. If anyone has ever spoken to him, he's an absolute gentleman. There's no controversy with him. He's a very good human being and clearly an incredible fighter.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's because when Leon knocked him out when they fought the second time, in the third fight, I don't know if it was because of the knockout. I don't know if it was because he maybe got old overnight. I don't know if it's because of the wear and tear just finally catching up with him. But he looked not the Kamaru of, say, a year before that. You know what I mean? And so it could be one of many different things. You never know. Maybe Kamaru Usman comes out, shocks the world, destroys Khamza, or maybe Khamza goes out there and does what Khamza fucking
He's
does.
a scary dude, man. He's a scary dude. I was watching some of his YouTube stuff, his training and stuff. I mean, he's a beast in there, man. He puts in the work. There's no doubt about that. And like you said, man, it's crazy how that works, right? We're looking at a guy that's dominant. Tony Ferguson, the same thing. As soon as he lost to Gaethje, it was like that was it. He was suddenly old, right? He suddenly looked old. Whereas, I mean, he was always in his late 30s. He'd been there for a while, working his way up, and now suddenly he just doesn't even necessarily look like the same guy. That could be what we see from Kamaru, or it could go the other way. That's what we're going to find out. But you're right. I agree. He did look just a step slower, but this is even further removed from that fight. Did he get better, or is he continuing to get old like the rest of us?
And you never know. I mean, as I said, he did get knocked out. So you can be gun shy. I've been there. You know, when you get knocked out cold like that, then, because I fought Dan Henderson again years later, and I was still a little nervous on the day. He went straight back into the octagon against the guy that just put him to sleep. So I don't know what that's like. I had a rebuilding phase, you know, won many other fights, and still when it came down to fight day, I was a little, like, shit.
Yeah.
Last time I stepped in here with this guy, I got my light switched off, and the whole world laughed at me. You mentioned Tony Ferguson there. Tony Ferguson, Paddy the Baddy. Let's just say Tony goes out there, beats Paddy Pimblett. Let's just say that. Don't disown me, UK. I'm just saying it's a theory. I'm going somewhere. Tony Ferguson wins. Paul Felder, Tony Ferguson, UFC 300.
Now you're talking, right? And that's how kind of where I'm at with that guy. That's why I don't mention Tony. Is I like Tony, and you know, I've been one of the guys that's saying, oh man, maybe it's time to, and this is coming from retirement, Paul, where I'm out. I'm like, man, come over the other side, Tony. Come join us over here on the retirement side. But if he goes and looks good against Paddy, that's an option too. I mean, that dude's an absolute legend of the lightweight division. But I'd like him to have a win. You know what I mean? Before I get back in there, it's like, you know, but who am I? He might not even want anything to do with me either. But that is something that was brought up, and I'm like, yeah, if he goes out there and can kick Paddy's ass, then it's a fun fight.
But that's why it's dangerous as well for Paddy, right? You just said it yourself. You want him to get a win, you know, because you know, if you want to be a hater on Paddy, which sadly there is a lot these days, and maybe sometimes he doesn't help himself. He's a good guy though. If he beats Tony, people are going to talk shit. Sorry, if he beats Tony, people are going to say, well, he lost his last 6 in a row. If Tony beats him, they're going to say, you fucking suck.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's a really difficult position.
Yeah, it's a tough fight. God bless him, because he's in a very tough spot, because you're right. He's going to get criticized no matter what. But at least if he beats a guy like Tony, even though Tony's on a losing streak like crazy, Tony has only fought the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, right, in that division. So it's still a step up for Paddy. You know,